What's up, Fantasy Freaks? It's Rob, the NRL Fantasy Freak, back for the 2026 season. I've been working hard in the off season and I'm ready to get stuck in. Dressed up for the 2026 launch and got my fancy new studio with the upgrade of NRL Fantasy Freak logo. I got my most valuable players on the wall in Lachlan Galvin and Dylan Egan. Who do you think will be the most valuable this year? I'm hoping it's David Fafita and we see him back to his barnstorming best. In today's video, I'll go over my 2025 season and how I managed to come 306th. I'll discuss some of the key strategies around building your round one team, and finally discuss some key players in relation to captaincy and outside backs. So this is the new layout that I've got for the 2026 season. I've got the game ticker on the right there. I'll have all my predictions of scores, and in the left panel I'll have who's hot and who's not. I'll have captaincy and I'll have cash cows rotating as I'm talking, depending on what I'm discussing at the time. You can see here I've got a league code that I hope you guys would join and give me some competition. I smashed my league last year, and as you can see, this is what we'll be going through in the video today. So a bit about me, my rank history, my round one structure and profit from last year, my round one structure and expected profit for this year, my review of my trade usage and strategy, captaincy analysis, 3 potential guns analysis for outside backs, and a sneak peek for the next video. So first up, meet the freak. Why you should watch my videos. I'm very experienced at this game, veteran of 10 plus years. Very passionate, obviously, to be doing a YouTube channel, and I've been doing it since 2020. I'm not in it to get lots of followers or anything, but I do enjoy the creative side of it. I'm proven. Last 4 years I've had ranks of 862, 1040, 7057 was a shocker. Injuries killed me and I kept holding players. So I learnt from that, and then this last year, 306th overall, with being more aggressive on trading out injured players was the big one. I'm very analytical. I created my own custom projections in the off season, which I've never done before, and that's what I'll give you guys a sneak peek at the end of this video. I also use Rugby League Fantasy Pro and YAFs and footy statistics to look up data and to see key information. I'm very knowledgeable. I consume a lot of content on NRL and NRL Fantasy, listening to JBFA, Talking League, Casual Athlete, the Fantasy Amateurs, and Fantasy Files. There's a lot. I'm consistent. I aim to do at least one video a week, potentially a couple more, and I am hoping to build a community. I definitely would comment on any comments in my videos if there were to be any. I know I don't have that many subscribers at the moment. But I want to drive the idea of being the underdog channel against the big channels and see if I can beat them like I did most of them last year. So my 2025 rank history. Started off reasonably poorly. Overall rank was outside the top 30,000 or 50,000. By round 4, I had a massive round where I came 47th, and that just catapulted me into the top 1,000. And then from there, I was pretty much always in the top 1,000, except round 9 had a shocker. But you can see from the rank history that it's a very up and down. You have one good week and then one bad week, and one good week, then one bad week. Or, yeah, similar to that effect. It's never going to be a straight line. You tend to have, especially with the buys, you're going to have some of your guns sitting out certain weeks, and so you're going to get a lower score. The key thing for me, my median rank for the year was 263. So half of my round ranks were less than 10k, which is good. I only had 3 bad weeks that were outside 30k, and I had 19 weeks inside the top 1k. And you can see that right at the end there, round 27 was a killer for me, where I had the Raiders all got rested and I couldn't field a full 17. So that killed my rank a little right at the end. So my 2025 review of my round 1 structure and profit. So first off, I've got my team structure by position. I had 2 hookers, 8 mids, which is insane, 3 edges, 7 halves, 3 centres and 4 wing fullbacks for a total of 27 positions covered. That's where I had 6 duels, which very much helped my flexibility in my squad. My structure by cost, I had 5 players under 300k, 4 between 300 and 400, 4 between 400 and 500, 2 between 500 and 600, 3 between 600 and 700, and 3 over 700k. So that pretty much is the standard structure. So you got 9 cheapies there under 400k. You got 4 in the 600k plus bracket, and then 6 in the 600k bracket plus. You want to have a max of 2 from any one team when building your structure, or unless they don't have a bye until the major bye, then you can run with 3. I would never have 4, because if a team is getting smashed, it's going to affect a lot of your players, so it's better to spread the risk across multiple teams. Looking at the profit breakdown, I didn't have that many players make profit from my starting squad. So that's a good sign that you can still do well even if your starting squad is crap. I had 5 players lose money, 4 only made less than 50k, 2 made 50 to 100k, 4 100 to 150k, and then 3 each at 150 to 200k and 200k plus. So looking at my 2026 round 1 structure and expected profit, I've got 7 dual position players in my squad currently, which allows me to have 3 hookers, 7 mids, 5 edges, 4 halves, 4 centres and 5 wing fullbacks for a total of 28 positions. And that gives me 2 backups for every single position, making my squad very flexible. I've got 6 guns. there was a change since I made that panel. I've only got 5 guns over 600k now, and I have 8 mid-ranges and 8 cheapies. So does that add up? 16, yeah, yep, 21. So again, you want to be obviously looking for value in round 1, so you're going to have more cheaper players. We don't have the same squad value that we'll have at the end of the season. And really, those 2 players over 700k are your captaincy choices. And then the higher value players should be filling positions that struggle to score. In my projected profit, I have 2 players to lose money, which is obviously the guns. The 3 to make less than 50k, 2 up to 100k, 3 up to 150k, 5 up to 200k, and 6 200k plus, which I project will give me $3 million in profit. So I will be well on my way to a very strong squad. Looking at my 2025 trade usage and strategy, the first thing that sticks out is 47% of trades were used for injuries. That is huge, and every year we are getting more and more injuries, so we need to make sure we have trades for those injuries. So many players run out of trades and can't do anything. And yeah, so one of the biggest skills in this game is not wasting trades. 45% of my trades were made by round 12, so being aggressive early is very important. Getting on the right cash cows that are going to make you money, and cutting the players that you identify aren't going to perform to what we thought they were. Getting rid of them as quickly as possible, because once you're behind the 8 ball, it's hard to come back. As I've said there, chase upside early. So if you see someone with a strong roll, you need to get on them ASAP. Prices rise a lot faster now than back when I first started playing, and that's a big factor in being aggressive in your trades. I've got there, save trades, save trades. It's very, very important to save trades, and I will be telling you through the year, every time I save a trade, that is a win, because they will come in handy at the back end of the season when nobody has any. You can overtake a lot of people. And with the buy planning, now that we only have to play 13 in the major buys, they're a lot easier to maneuver. It's the minor buys that are the tricky ones, where you've got to field 17. And if your origin players don't back up, it can be very tricky. So holding origin players through is risky in my opinion, and yeah, it's better to just have none, especially if you can have the Terrell Mays, the Herbies in your team that are guns that are going to do well and not play origin. Looking at what you should focus on this year, so cash generation and cut dead wood, as I mentioned. Buy planning is critical leading up to the major buys. You want to look for selling your origin players and selling your peaked assets, so players that have made their cash. You don't want them to start losing that cash, so get rid of them. If you can get non-origin guns in, like I mentioned, Herbie, Terrell May, and origin upside is like, what's his name, Trey Fuller from the Dolphins. With Hammer in origin, he should get game time and he has good value. And yeah, always be looking for value early on. We need to make that cash so that Ideally, you want to have a squad of around 14 million by round 20 so that you can finish the season strong. Major buys, Rabbitohs and Dolphins. Don't play any of those major buys, so they're going to be good. And minor buys, as I've mentioned, diversify your team. Don't have too many from one club. And for the run home, basically, we get the 8 extra trades after Origin, and those should just be for injuries. And you will never not need them because round 27 is a killer every year. And yeah, I'll definitely hope I have 1 or 2 for that round. So looking at the captaincy for this year, there's 3 in the conversation: Payne Haas, Terrell May and Nathan Cleary. Terrell May's got the bye in round 1, and it's also been said that he'll probably be looking to play 60 minutes this year. So he's definitely not going to be the same player fantasy-wise that he was last year, although Haas manages to pump out massive scores in less minutes, so there's nothing to suggest that May couldn't do that. If he starts playing more like a prop and less like a 5'8", that could happen. But as you can see, the highlighted key numbers are pretty much dominated by Payne Haas. 2025 first 6, he averaged 73 versus Cleary 65. And his last 3, he averaged 80 versus Cleary 69. NRL Fantasy Pro has got him projected for 77 points round 1 versus 68 for Cleary. And you can see Terrell May has the highest floor, but that's not that relevant. And the highest ceiling is Cleary, 122, but Payne Haas at 108 is pretty solid, and he's got a higher floor than Cleary as well at 35. And for the first 6, NRL Fantasy Pro projects an average of 75.8 versus Cleary's 70. So it definitely points to Haas being the better captaincy option. I recommend having both him and Cleary because Cleary can easily do better than last year. He started off really slow. The Panthers started off really slow, and I do not expect that this year. So he could easily pump out some big scores early, and you'll be left behind. So in the outside backs, got 3 guys here that I've been looking at putting in my squad: Reece Walsh, Scott Drinkwater and Herbie Farnworth. Let's talk about Farnworth first. He's the most expensive at 800k. His 2025 first 6 was 57, which is significantly higher than the other 2. But last 3 of 2025, Reece Walsh was on fire, 91 average. Drinkwater at 70 was pretty awesome too, and Herbie at 68 is awesome, but not good enough. And Fantasy Pro has round 1 projections with Drinkwater at this stage. I have been very keen on him just because with Walsh and Adam Reynolds being there, and just that I think he scored a 2 last year, Walsh, but Drinkwater's just as bad for getting a real stinker low score, so they're both as good as each other. I am thinking that form carries over into this year and that we cannot ignore that last 391 average. So he's going to be in my team. Looking at that floor, a -1 for Walsh, that's horrendous. I don't see that ever happening again. And the ceiling, He's only got a 94 ceiling versus 110 for the other two, but he's still young, and the Broncos are an insane team, so I wouldn't put it past him to push that ceiling up, especially if Adam Reynolds were to go down and he was to get the goal kicking. For the first 6 average, Fantasy Pros got Herbie just ahead, but at that 800k price, it's not worth spending that much money, and I really think you're paying overs for Herbie, and the only reason we should do that is if there is no other options. He is significantly higher average than all the other centres, I think 11 points, which I'll discuss in the next video, but which is why a lot of people are thinking about having him, but I think he's just too expensive at this stage for me. So this is my new spreadsheet that I've created. It tells you a lot of information. First off, we've got the team list for the Broncos on the left-hand side, which I'll update every team list. I've got my projection tables feeding into the expected value, and those expected values adjust depending on the position of the player, so especially the dual position players. Any player that has played interchange, edge, mid, hooker, I'll have done a different projection for each position. So looking at this, Payne Haas is expected to lose 6 points in value, priced at 75 with an expected average of 69. That's what I've worked out. First off, I should say my projections are nowhere near to the level of NRL Fantasy Pro, and I've done it purely so I can do a quick glance and also just use my own analysis going through the stats to see if I can create my own projections. Basically, I use it as a tool to see straight away if a player's got value, and then I can do a deeper dive into footy stats or Fantasy Pro and see what comes out of that. But I've also got in this graphic, you can see the form and the break-even. Obviously, break-evens at the start of the season are all equal with what they're priced at. And as I mentioned earlier, Haas with the last 3 average of 80. That gives him 5 points of value. So that is awesome if he could do that. And down the bottom there, you can see I've got the next 7 games. And I have highlighted certain teams like Storm, Panthers in dark red. And Broncos will be dark red. I've got a lighter red for the Bulldogs and Raiders, and then moving into the easier teams like the Eels, Dolphins, Cowboys, and then I've got the dark green for the lowest teams in Tigers and Titans. Now these are based on TAB odds, so nothing to do with where I think the teams will finish this year. It's purely on TAB odds and where they are projected, their chances of finishing in the top 8. And that's pretty much it. Just going through my panel above. So Payne Haas 60% owned is another big reason why we should start with him. It's too risky to not have him, because if he does go bang, you're going to get left behind by so many people. And as mentioned, his form was great at the back end of last year. He plays for a great team. Expect 70 plus, and I've got him as a must-have. Well, that's it from me in this video, and in the next one I'll go through all the teams and just a key player from each team, and maybe I'll do my first draft as well.